G'day Scrappers, Menace here with another episode of Scrap Mechanic, and in this video I want to show you how to make skid steer like we did on the APC in the previous video for vehicles such as APCs or tanks or excavators or bulldozers. Now skid steer applies, well, is the term given to the type of drive that you would normally see in trucks or, in dozers or tanks or excavators or APCs like we've got here. Sometimes APCs like this do have actual turning, but if you'll see here, if you're unfamiliar with how this is made, it is basically turning that is set off the rotation of the wheels. So all these wheels are locked. They only go forwards and backwards. They do not turn left and right, but they do change rotation depending on which way you are turning. So if we look from the top here, get rid of that, we press left, and you'll see that the wheels on our right side are driving forward, whilst the wheels on our back side are driving backwards. And then if we want to turn right, it does the opposite. So the wheels on our right side are reversing, making a god-awful noise, and the wheels on our left side are actually going out, so we can turn. And now this is really good because you can do some really great maneuvers turning on the spot just like this, but it also works out pretty well. The way that I've got it is that you can actually turn and drive forward at the same time. It is pretty kind of tricky to figure out. You need to learn, I guess, you need to realize a few of the rules that are in Scrap Mechanic with things such as engines. Now, I'll get a little bit into the different engines and how they perform in this build in a second. But if we have a look here, you can see there's a lot of work involved in this tiny space. So what I want to do is over the next two episodes, I will probably build a tank. But this first one is going to focus on the drive shaft and how to really get it to work as a skid steer like this, as opposed to the previous video, like the excavator where wheels lift up and down. This time, it's a little bit different where everything is touching the ground. So to start off, we're going to bring back out our hot bar here, and we're going to make a structure. So what I like to do is I'll get a general rough size of how big I want this thing, and I believe that these are actually pretty much the same width. I think this one might be maybe too bigger. It doesn't matter. Anyway, for the purpose of this video, I have simply made it an uneven amount. So you can see here there's like a center block down the side. So this one is actually different size, that one, because that's an even size width. I want it uneven because I'm going to be putting a turret at the top for the tank to turn, whereas if you have a look on this one, I've made this an even amount, and this turret is actually offset by one block, and it really frustrates the heck out of me. Anyway, so we need to start off with the bearing placement. As you can see here, I have got 3 sets of bearings on each axle, 1, 2, and 3, and I've got this last one down here that I'm going to show you how I do it. So it's simply one bearing, a block, one bearing, another block, and then a third bearing which we attach our wheel to. Now before I even do that, what I do is I make the big flat structure and I put the wheels spaced out how I want it, because this really determines the look and the feel of the vehicle, where you have your wheels. Now, as you can see, I've got 4 spaced out pretty far. You could probably apply this to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, even more lots of tires for even bigger mega structures, and that'd be cool to get a mega structure going with a lot of wheels. But for this one, we're just going to do 4. So we do have 3 sets of wheels. Now they're going to be broken up into different drives for each axle, as well as different drives for each bearing on each axle. So you're going to have to bear with me a little bit. We're going to need some engines. We'll start off with the electric engine, and then we'll get the motorized engine, and we'll talk a little bit about why these are different. So the difference between the lot are the gas engine. It obviously makes a different noise, and it is also a lot faster, but it does not have as much torque. And when you're talking about torque, that regards to how much power it kind of has as to like force, I guess you could say. The electric engines have a lot more torque and can really push a lot heavier structures, but not as fast as the motor, the gas engine anyway. There's also another difference that's within the game. Any bearing that is connected to a gas engine like this will actually spin freely. well, actually, we'll have to just get off here. Right, it'll spin freely if the engine is disengaged, as you can see here. So if we pop this back onto our lift and then we hook up this little fella here, we can actually hook up all of these just for argument's sake. The electric engine is quite different. If we turn this on, you can see it'll move, and then as soon as we turn it off, it will in fact stop in the position that where the power was cut off, like that. So a little bit different. As you can see, look, you can see that block is free spinning, whereas these ones are not free spinning. If I start driving like this, it wouldn't drive, sorry. Let's hook this up really quickly. It's making some awful noises. Welcome to Scrap Mechanic. If we drive like this, it's going to be pretty hard because those bearings there are locked by this electric engine. Whereas if we were doing it the opposite way, you can see that that one there is still free spinning. We're actually on a bit of a hill here. Anyway, so that using that mechanic there is very crucial to getting the drive right on this lovely skid steer structure. So we actually need quite a few engines because they are limited to the amount of bearings they can be connected to. So let's start connecting these up. We're going to have to cancel all this out. So what I forgot to mention there is that we don't actually use a gas engine for this build. We have to use the electric engines to keep bearings in the correct position, or I guess locked, when we are doing when we are turning. If you hook up multiple engines and turn them off and on this 3-bearinged axle, it just will not work. It'll just blocks will just free spin and won't work. But as opposed to these ones, where you can hook them up nicely, so and everything will drive like a drive shaft. So I like to break mine up into 2 rows of 3, because we have to use multiple engines for all these bearings we have on here. Are we still on the lift? We are. Great news. This one here I like to use for driving forwards and backwards. So this could be our driving forward, and we'll hook this straight up to the seat like that, because that's the only engine that will be connected to the driver's seat is the forwards and backwards. The rest will be driven by a switch, which you can see over there, and we'll get into that in a minute. So I like to use this one as the forwards and backwards, and we hook it up to every single bearing here. What we'll find is, though, there's not going to be enough because you can only hook it up to 5, I believe. Let's have a look. One more, I think, is... So maximum number of bearings is 5. That's why I have 2. So we've got drive forward here for these ones as well. So pretty simple to start with. We have all the inside bearings is our forwards and backwards. We'll also hook this up to the driver's seat. So we should be able to jump on here, and it probably won't go anywhere because the rest of the bearings are not hooked up. Once we do hook them up, we should have drive. So we'll get into that in a second. Now we're going to have the left turning bearings. So these 2 engines here will be in charge of turning left. Now, if we remember back before, I was discussing which directions wheels need to turn so that we can make the whole structure turn. We'll start off by hooking this one up to the 2nd bearing. And as we want to turn left, we want these wheels to rotate backwards. So this bearing here is facing the right direction, and we can do the same pretty much all the way along here. All right, and then this little fella here, actually, I don't think we need these engines. I've had too many. This one here needs to go forward. Oh, I know, I do have the right amount of engines. I am a peanut. This one here will be connected to the 2nd set of bearings on the right side, and they will be driving these wheels forward. So now when we activate this engine, these 2 engines here, they will actually turn this wheel backward, these lots of wheels backwards, these ones forwards, and we will turn left. And then it's exactly the same on the right-hand side. So these ones we want turning right, we need to go out. We need to go forward. So these outside wheels will be driving forward, like that. And then these inside will be turning backwards, like so. And then once we have hooked everything up, we should be able to test this out, at least the driving back and forward part. And we'll get into doing the switch, which will control the left and right engines. So now that we have that all hooked up nicely, is one of these on? Shouldn't be. That's interesting. Maybe I think that's just a bug. We do need to turn them up though. These are hooked up to the driver's seat. They are. So it shouldn't take off anywhere. I think we should only need like 3 for the power. And we can drive forward as a demonstration. And we can drive backwards. Alright, we might need to turn that up just a wee bit. That's probably a bit too much. Are they even? No, they are not. Cool. So we can drive forwards and we can drive backwards. Now, as you can see, left and right do absolutely nothing right now. The rest of these engines are yet to be hooked up. So we will make our little switch. Unfortunately, because this structure is uneven, all these engines are off to the side, but balance is not my concern right now, and I don't think it will be a problem once we build the entire structure. So next we want to get out our sensors. We're using our sensors here to hook up to the engines. We've got a controller as well. We've got bearings and everything we need. So to start off, I will simply place a couple of sensors here. All right, and then you need to make sure that we are on the lift. So 2 sensors with a 1 block gap between them. Okay, and then you want to put some blockages, I guess you could say, just 1 block apart. That way we have our pivot, I guess you could say it's a needle of sorts in the middle. So simply line up 2 blocks, 1 block away from the sensors like that. I'm going to plop a block in the middle for our needle to go into. And then we should be all good to hook it up. So we got chuck down a bearing for our needle and 2 blocks. Here we can then simply hook these up like that and then like that. So our sensor, when this sensor is activated, the engines here on the right will activate and then turn the wheels in such a manner to turn right, and the same for the other side. Then from here, we're going to hook up the seat to this here bearing, which controls our needle for turning left and right. We'll have to just get rid of the lift, and you can see here, we turn right and that needle turns to the right also, activating the sensor. And then turning left is the same. That sensor, as you can see at the bottom there, is, even though the light's kind of hidden, you can see it there, it is activated. So these engines should run if we turn them up now. And I don't know the power. You're the one making the noise, you little scamp. I think we got up 5 for all of them. So now we should be right, turning right. We can drive forward. We can drive left as well. And that is how you make a drivetrain for a skid steer vehicle using just electric engines. And all you need is 6 of them. If you cut away 1 lot of bearings, if you just make it 3, you don't need this extra lot of engines. You can do it without. This switch is super handy and super cool when hooked up. I like the idea. And hopefully you guys can use it to your advantage as well. We will be, in the next video, going on to do a what do you say? It's called a turret, isn't it? We're going to do cosmetics and a turret. I think I've covered everything for the drivetrain. As you can see here, like, I've got to change the power on each of these, obviously to make it a bit more of a fun vehicle to drive. But when we're turning left, it's actually cancelling it out completely. So we could probably turn these up a little bit. Just by 1, I think will make the wheels actually rotate in such a direction. It's a little bit powerful, I think. But you can see there, it's actually now rotating, so it's going faster. It really does kind of turn on the spot very well. We'll turn these up as well. If you do go too fast, the bearings start to flip out, as you can see, and you can hear the banging of bearings stretching and then compressing once more. But that's pretty much it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial. Next video, we will work on the cosmetics as well as a turret, and I do have a little bit of a surprise for you with the with an idea that I think should work pretty well using a remote controls. So I hope that I can integrate that into the tank, and it can have its own remote control aspect for it, I guess. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a thumbs up if this tutorial helped you out. If you have any other requests for tutorials, let me know. But as for now, I'll see you all in the next video.